Most people think obstacles are signs that they're on the wrong path. The setback, the rejection, the failure, the delay. They assume if all I wanted it for them, it would be easy. What if the obstacle isn't standing in your way? What if the obstacle is the way? Ryan Holiday structures this book into 3 parts. 1 is perception, 2 is action, 3 is will. Or put another way, the mind, the body, and the heart. How you see adversity, how do you respond to adversity, and how do you endure adversity? Let's start with perception. Most obstacles don't defeat us physically, they defeat us mentally. The obstacle arrives, and immediately people start to tell themselves stories. This shouldn't be happening to me. I don't deserve this. Why me? Honestly, I could tell you a story that happened to me August 2025 when I tore my Achilles. Before that happened, I actually had just got licensed as a real estate agent, so I'm thinking I'm going to hit the ground running. I'm ecstatic. We're going to run it up. I thought this, at that point, I was thinking this isn't in my cutter. So I started to second guess. But it wasn't about the problem. It was the interpretation of it. Because seeing clearly isn't enough. Because eventually you have to move. And that's where people get stuck. One of the biggest ideas in the book is simple. Action cures fear. No overthinking, no worrying, no complaining, no scrolling. Action, action, action. Ryan argues that disorder creates distraction, and distraction destroys effectiveness. I'm going to give you another story of structure and how it helped me, which is planning my weekends and realizing if I didn't plan, it creates decision fatigue. Because at that time, I'm like, I got all these different things I want to do. And if I don't plan it out the night before and then go back over it in the morning, I'm like wandering, I'm like drifting and lost. And then I'm thinking like, okay, I really want to do this, but I want to do this also. And it's about creating priorities. So I literally have 2 planners. I have a planner, a book planner, and then I have a calendar planner. The calendar planner is hour by hour by hour. The book planner is just some of the big things that I want to do that day. And then I have a calendar in front of me of marking off what I did, because it's about building systems. Everything matters. Everything. Whether that's studying, writing, creating, building, serving. Because every opportunity has the chance to be performed with ihsan, which is excellence. And I'll give you another personal story. Real estate, if you're not detail oriented and on the ball, taking people through a process, things can get real ugly, because this is one of the biggest purchases that people are going to make. And another thing is that some people might see as beneath them. I deliver with Amazon Flex and DoorDash Link, but I do it with excellence, because if I don't do it with excellence, it spills over into other areas of my life, like my health, which I love making smoothies, so you got to do that with excellence. But if I didn't do everything with excellence, I would live a mediocre life. And who wants to live a mediocre life? Nobody does. A lot of people are waiting for the perfect camera, the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing, the perfect plan. Meanwhile, nothing gets done. Progress beats perfection every single time. The will has more to do with surrendering than strength. Read that again. The will has more to do with surrendering than strength. Most people think willpower means intensity, aggression, force, control. True will is staying faithful when the circumstances don't cooperate. And I'm going to circle back to the story about when I tore my Achilles, because that was a difficult season. Even though I had tore my Achilles, I knew that I had to surrender to Allah about the circumstances at hand that happened, and just still play my part as if I could still walk on 2 feet. And what I mean by that is, I basically still made cold calls. I still try to book meetings. I called expireds. I called for sale by owners. I still tried to get listings. I still tried to find
buyers. I still did all of that because I knew if I still play my part in the cutter that Allah had for me, I knew somewhere a breakthrough was going to happen. And I say that because as I'm going through the motions, I'm getting frustrated. I even cried a few times because I'm like, man, nothing's happening. And then I finally start to see a little results. I start to see some outcomes that I like. And I would say 2 to 3 months of doing all that, I end up helping my first buyer buy their first investment property. So that lets you know, if you just surrender to the circumstance at hand, even when they don't cooperate with you, and just keep making dua to Allah, anything is possible. Your plans in reality rarely look the same, and that's okay. And I say it's okay because when I was launching my clothing brand, Baraka Culture, I literally had started it in 2025. And I literally didn't launch anything until 2026. I think it was April 2026. And I had plans of launching it last year. But because things came in the fold, I didn't take care of certain things I needed to take care of. I wasn't sure, because I'm a person who likes to, when I do things, it has to have meaning, it has to have a purpose. And once I finally got to that stage where it was aligned with Allah, that's where the energy and the effort start to come into. And that's when I finally launched Baraka Culture in April 2026. And I can also talk about real estate. That takes time. It's not easy because if you don't got the connections already, good luck. But no, I say that because people have to trust you. You got to be able to build rapport very quickly. And this is I guess you could say, somewhat of a dog-eat-dog world. So you got to get in the mode. And you just got to stay the course and just keep hammering. Because I know for me, with the help of Allah and staying aligned with Him, I know the real estate business is going to take off, because I built an Amway business for 4 years where I would go out and talk to people, strangers, get their number, have meetings with them. So I know I have the skill set to crush it in this business. And also, I just want to talk about YouTube, because creating a YouTube channel, growing it isn't easy. There's tiers you got to hit. There's consistency that needs to be done. But I had an idea of where I want to be, and am I there? I'm definitely not. But just remember, your reality and your plans rarely ever look the same. You want to know something I figured out? You don't have to like something to master it. You don't have to like it. You simply have to accept it. How many times have you asked, what if I would have done this differently? What if I would have took that job? What if I would have bought that house? What if I would have started sooner? What if I didn't fail? But what would that have changed? Nothing. And I say nothing because in Islam, it teaches you not to think about what ifs. Because once you make a choice or decision, that's it. You got the desired outcome. Allah wrote that in your cutter. It was already decreed. You can't go back and try to think about, if I would have did this and did that, it would have changed. You probably would have got the same outcome, or it would have been even worse. And I'll give you a small story. I would say in the last 4 years or so, I've moved everywhere. I haven't been settled in a place for more than a year for a while. But in the midst of that, it was 1 year I lived in like 4 different states, which wasn't fun moving. But I say that because now that I'm settled here in Cincinnati, Ohio, I'm finally creating content consistently. I'm in real estate. I'm slowly getting it off the ground. I feel more confident. My iman has grown. I'm more knowledgeable in my deen. There's still a lot to learn, but I feel more at ease with it because I'm in a safe environment for myself that I've created to be able to live out the qadr that Allah has written for me. And there was times in there, I'll be honest, there was about twice I did say what ifs, but then I had to come back and realize, like, I made those decisions and that's the outcome I got, and those outcomes still led me to the right place that I need to go because I accepted it and just built off of it. And when you get in what ifs, it's not a good thing. It takes you off the path. You start to lose confidence, and it's just not a good place to be. The strongest people aren't obsessed with themselves. They're obsessed with a mission. For me, that's why I started Baraka culture. And the reason for my YouTube channel was, as I was learning about Islam and I had started my entrepreneur journey at the same time and had read over 200 plus books during that time, in the midst of it, I started to see some of the correlations within the books, like the methodologies, the laws, the concepts, the ideas that Islam had already been teaching for over 1400 plus years ago. And I wanted to incorporate that to show people why Islam was the truth and how these self-help gurus, I don't know if they were stealing from Islam, but like none of these were new breakthroughs that they had discovered. They were already out there. You just needed to go find it, which the truth was already in front of you. And the reason why for Baraka Culture, the brand that I started, was, I mentioned in one of my videos, I had built an Amway business for 4 years. I had learned how to talk to people, business structures, build teams, sales, all that good stuff. But it was something missing that wasn't just clicking for me, and I couldn't get over the hump. And once I came across the Baraka Effect by Muhammad Faris, I knew that was the missing link, was the purpose and alignment with Allah Wajal that I was missing. And I don't think I could have found that even if I would have kept building that business and still incorporate and align it with Allah. Just the environment I was in and how it wasn't really conducive to being a Muslim to a certain degree. And the reason why I serve people is because people need people. It takes a village to raise a child. I saw something today, it takes a village to raise a marriage. So without good people in the world serving each other, it's going to be hard. And life is already hard. So the more that you can serve people and help them get what they want, the more that you can have fulfillment and alignment with Allah, because Allah says be nice to His creation. We have to be nice to each other. We have to speak kind words to each other to be able to succeed. Death doesn't make life pointless. It makes life purposeful, because our days are numbered. Life never stops. One obstacle, then another, then another. That's not punishment. That's life. The biggest lesson I took from the book is simple. The obstacle isn't proof that you're failing. The obstacle isn't proof that Allah abandoned you. The obstacle isn't proof that you're on the wrong path. Sometimes the obstacle is exactly what you need, because the obstacle teaches perception, the obstacle demands action, and the obstacle builds will. Maybe the greatest obstacle wasn't the circumstance. It was the version of yourself that believed that couldn't overcome it. I'll see you in the next one.